No, it would have been a great idea if I was recording. Well, hey guys, my name's Chris. I want to show you my build for the Rotovisor deck. I played it during my local's Construction Cup, and I had a lot of fun. Do I think it's the most competitive deck? No, but it took some games surprisingly that I thought it would struggle a little bit more into like the decks Zorga and Black Mire. It's either we're close or actually managed to beat some of them. So, well, if you have a lot of fun and you like robots with a 5 attack mechanic, this is pretty good for you. All right, so let me get started. I will show you the ride line. I am just running the typical Rotovisor ride line. Other than the grade 2 support card for Rotovisor, I don't run any of the rest from the ride line or any of this other than, the full Persona set. If you have any other kind of builds for this where you do include this, let me know. I'm kind of interested, but at least from how I saw and play tested, that just having these were just fine because you have a bunch of other cards that gain more power than just the extra +5 that these would. So onto the deck. For grade 3s, like I said, I am running full Personas in here. I think this deck relies heavily around Persona because especially when you have all arenas out to fulfill the +5 here, when you Persona plus that, it's +15. And when you restain them, it's another +5, so that's 20. If you have the grade 2 support card, you get a +5 to somewhere else. You also would have some other cards in here that gain more power just from your arenas, like Advent and Combine Rusher. So at certain points, when you do hit your triggers, I've had columns as high as like 80k at some point. It's really hard when you have the guard notice numbers, especially when you have the on-hit skills enabled. It's just kind of difficult to decide what to guard, but you have to get lucky on those, so hope to God you see triggers. For the other grade 3s, I have a set of, three Advent Robust. This helps you dig out your arenas, especially early game if you can manage your counterblast pretty well. This card has helped so much, and the extra 10k, like I said, helps. And just restaining. This is a good target for the arenas to slap on for the on-hit. That's it for the grade 3s. Next, for grade 2s, we have the full play set of Urban Cities. This is the whole shtick around this deck. It helps the deck do its stuff because the Vanguard skill is 2 counterblast. It makes your opponent have to think of what they have to guard, because not only can you just put this onto Vanguard, you can put on your rear guards. You also, if you read the card effect, you don't have to attack the Vanguard just to get the skill of countercharging or the energy gain. If you need to countercharge, you can swing at a low rear guard, and if your opponent just really wants to dump their hand to try to protect that low rear guard just so you don't get a counter charge, I think it's a good resource burn for that. For this grade 2, I run 3 Compassion Mechanics. I find that in my games that I am not playing her till like later in the game. I think the +5 when you have 2 arenas is good, giving +5 to the other units when you turn your urban cities on her early. The issue I have with her is that when I do play that card, it tends to draw me into my triggers, and I usually do this before I drive check, and obviously when you draw into that trigger, it doesn't feel good. While you can just do it later on after the drive checks, I feel that just getting the extra +5 early on is more useful than later on. That's debatable. I mean, I can see that, but I just tend to try to have more cards early on. But running it at 3, I don't really see a problem with that. If you run 4, to all's their own. It's an okay card. I'm not saying it's a bad card, but at least for my playstyle, I just run them at 3. Other grade 2 here is Combine Rusher at 3. It's a good pitch target. It gets +10. Call it from the drop when you play a set order, which you are every turn past grade 2, so this is a great card to have. These help refund the cost of here if you can get the on hit. It's a great card. I don't think putting them at 4 is all that necessary. So 3 is just fine. You could maybe get away with 2. I have it 3 here for consistency. All right, for a full playset of cards here, I have Habitable Zone. This helps the deck just do its thing. I've had times where going into my Persona Ride turn or my last turn on grade 3, I only have 1 Urban City from the free Vanguard search. It's quite rare that this happens in this build of the deck, or not likely, but having this just come save the day is, I think this deck kind of needs the Habitable Zone just to go. So along with Habitable Zone, anytime you run that, I always include 1 Refurbishment Dock. I've had a build with this deck without it, and I've had some certain situations where I've had Habitable and I've somehow guarded enough to keep either one of her or them, and you're just overcrowding the field of grade 2s. So anytime I run Habitable Zone, I run him, and I've had games where calling him out, putting him as a booster, and just kind of saves me the game, honestly. And that's why I choose to keep it in there, and that's why my ratio is a little bit weird, just so I can make some room here. But I don't think I've ever had a problem running it with this setup. So that's it for the grade 2s. On to the grade 1s. I run a playset of, I don't know how to really quite say it, Balderade, but I think she's also really crucial. You get her early in your hand, you slap them down just to, search for arenas or search for grade 2s. This just helps set up your hand and just get more card advantage. Just dig for your cards and just get this deck compressed early on. This doesn't have the best deck compression, but it has decent okay, and your hand size is pretty all right with the way how this deck runs. Okay, for another just 3 card playset of Bulb of Mine, you would think that having the arenas helps you with the if you counter charge, but no, there's some certain situations where people try to damage deny you. It's just good to have these here. You can run a playset of 4 again. I run them at 3, not having too much of a problem. I usually have these early to try to use Abbott Robust on grade 3 to search for my 3rd arenas, just so I'm ready for my my turn 4. And for only 2 here, I have Drowsing Finder, and this is a good tech option because while you do have the arenas, and you're not going to be countercharging all the time, so you will have a lot of energy during this deck if you don't use the grade 2 Rotovisor support card, and just this is a very insane card that Mike, my friend at Locals, had showed me in his Rotovisor build. Now this card just puts columns into some insane numbers, because just for 2 energy blasts, you get +5 on this card for the end of the turn. And since the whole thing around this is to just stand your columns for as many arenas, you stand this card, energy blast again for maybe 4 a turn if you have the extra ones, and it's just 5k on 5k on 5k, especially with Vanguard skill. So this is a good card. I tried running him at 3, but again, then everything started becoming a set of 3 all over the place, and I just tried to at least even this out. You can try to take out maybe 1 Combine Rusher to try to put this at 3 if you really like this card. I just find that I would like having Combine more as a pitch target early, or just an extra 10k than just have more of him, or playing with some ratios. I don't think it matters too much in this deck. That's it for the grade 4s. For the trigger lineup, whatever you want to run, but for this, I didn't want to take apart my other decks, so I just have 4 regular PGs. I run the Brancade OT because you're swinging so much, you want the big columns, you want the extra crits all over the place. I haven't really tried it out with anything else. Give it a try and let me know how you find. It's just that it's Brancade, we have the best OT, so you know, just throw that in everything. So I run fronts in this deck. It's 5 attack deck, run fronts. I like it, you get the extra shield. I run them at 4. I don't have a problem. You know, you can do 8 crits in 3 fronts. I don't think it makes too much of a big deal. You can run whatever heals you like. And like I said, 7 crits. Obviously these should be the effect crits. I just didn't want to take them out from my other decks. And that's the Rotovisor deck. If you enjoyed this, then in comments below, let me know how you would build out this deck, but this is my build. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. But other than that, I hope everyone has a good day.